First off, welcome to the channel. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe, like, comment. And today we're going to bring you value just like we always do. And this video, we actually have Nancy Gaines, a friend of mine, who is an expert at networking, shaking hands with people, knowing what to say, when to say it, how to say it, knowing how to feel better about saying it, and knowing the right way to follow up after. So we have a lot of strategies in this video. So without further ado, here's Nancy Gaines teaching you how to network properly.
And I manage them myself from Colorado. I have no management company because I've not found one that will take care of them up to my expectations. So I was on Adam's podcast sharing about how I systemize. Everything is done here from Denver. And I actually have my tenants show the apartments because that's the only thing I can't do because I'm physically here. The people up in Boulder seem to really like that. So if you want to hear more about that, catch me later how I make that happen and change locks and all this stuff. It's amazing. Today, I am a business coach. I work with people that are struggling to manage their growth. So I help them, if they're feeling overworked and overwhelmed, get back on top of things, stay on top of things, and then really grow their company. So I'm going to share some business knowledge with you today, but if you've got real estate questions, we can go for it. So I changed the title. It was supposed to be 7, but I found another tip. So are you guys okay? With 8? Okay, awesome. You're going to learn where to network, what to say in your elevator pitch. How many of you guys know at least like 30 realtors? Your pitch has got to stand out, or you'll just be another realtor. And how to follow up. Would you guys like to know how to follow up without being pushy? That's where the money is. Oh, do you want me to stay in a certain area? Okay. I do like to move a lot. By the end of the session, you'll know how to attract people to send you referrals, how to differentiate yourself, be remembered, not just another card, and craft the perfect pitch if you want to do that. You're going to learn some new things, and maybe just some reminders of you're like, oh, I knew that, I'm not doing it. Nancy reminded me, so we'll do that as well. Real quick, you've all come here, you shared a little bit about networking. Thank you to this side of the room. Anything specific you want to make sure I cover? Just raise your hand or yell it out. I want to make sure we give you value. Yeah, I try to only work about 10 days a week, and that's why everything's systemized. It's so much more fun, Colorado. Thanks, Aristotle. One of my friends. But specifically, do you want to know, like, when you've got that pushy person you're talking to at a networking event, you just won't leave? Like how to get rid of that person? Would that be helpful?
Yes.
Okay. What else would be really helpful? Were you going to say something?
Nope, I'm just thinking I know something's going to pop up while you're talking, so if I can catch you after, that'll be good for me.
Yes.
So how to break in. Come up, there are 3 people involved in this conversation. I want to speak to one of them.
How to break in? Oh, good one. Who else wants to learn how to break in?
That's
yeah, okay.
Not to houses.
And you are Ivan?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Any other things? Martin, yes.
How to express what you do but without being very salesy.
Okay. Would that be helpful for other people?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, we'll start with those. What is networking? Who's got a great definition of what this means? Aristotle, what is it?
The ability to share what you do with somebody else and have somebody else know what they do so that you can help them collaborate with each other to each do business.
Perfect. It's the underlying mutual give and take. It's not just about you going in and swooping in and taking all the business cards and adding them onto your list. It's about what can you do to introduce people and help them. So it's give and take. And it's also serving as a source of support, referrals, help. Everybody is interconnected, which is really cool. You're always networking, guys. It's not just like something you get up and you come in here. Networking is everywhere. When you're sitting next to someone on an airplane, when your kids are playing baseball, when you're at a party, at a birthday party, that's all networking. Keep that in mind. You're always on. Here's some common networking mistakes I'm going to address, because I've done these. Attending the wrong groups. I spent the first 2 years of my business hanging out with people that were not ever going to be my clients. And it took me too long to figure that out. So if you guys are not at the groups that are beneficial for you, we can fix that. Making it all about the sale. Don't be that one guy who's doing spray and pray and just hoping somebody buys his stuff, puking out what he does and not listening. Lack of follow-up and basically no system. Just kind of winging it. Networking is simply a system. When you follow the steps I'm going to tell you, if you just execute those, it'll totally work. Systems don't have to be complicated. Who took a shower today? Just raise your hand. If you didn't, leave your hand down. A shower is a system. You turn on the water, it gets hot, you undress, you step in, you soap up, you shampoo, you rinse off, step out, and get dressed. Can you see how if you did any of those steps a different way, you wouldn't get the same result, right? You got to do it. That's why systems are great. Has anyone heard of this law, the law of 250? Every person knows at least 250 people you'd invite to your funeral or invite to your wedding. Can you imagine the power when you talk to someone else who's got 250, who knows 250, who knows 250? That's really, really powerful. I love the statistic. If you're in a room of 100 strangers, there's only 2 people, just 2, that need exactly what you're selling at that exact time. And what are the chances you're going to bump into those 2 people at the food table when you're networking for an hour? But 98% of the people know somebody who needs what you have. So you have to access the 98% and not try to find the 2%. Does that make sense? Here's another stat I just love. 67% of people that you meet are going to need what you have at some point or another. So 2/3. So look to your left and look to your right. Those people are probably going to help you at some point. They either have the problem and they're unaware. The other thing is they're in denial that they've got this problem, or maybe they procrastinate so long until it's unbearable, then they're like, okay, I need to hire you as my architect, right? Like, I can't put it off. So the trick is to have a conversation with the 2/3 and just keep planting seeds. This is all about networking. So again, everything's a system. Let's jump into the 4-step system to network. First, and you guys can take notes on this when we get to the 7 tips. First, you have to know what groups to attend. It's not just anything. You want to be really specific. And here's my criteria where I spend my time. 1, does it have my potential clients in it? That's really easy, right? 2, can they be referrals for me? You guys are definitely, this is a referral group, right? You guys all help each other. And 3, are they just cool people that I'd like to have a glass of wine with? If it doesn't meet one of these criteria, I don't show up. It should be the same for you, or fine-tune the criteria. So here's some great examples of where you can network. It doesn't always have to be meetups. Chambers, Denver Business Journal, workshops, classes. Imagine this, guys, all you people with money to lend. You already know how to do real estate, but what if you showed up at a class full of newbie real estate people that nobody has, infiltrated yet? So you're not going there to learn, you're going there to meet other people who need you. Isn't that brilliant? So find out where these people are learning and then go in there and visit with them. Trade shows, civic organizations, volunteer, all of this is perfect. Second thing is who to meet. Who knows what an influencer is? What's your definition? I'm going to ask the person on the left of Aristotle. Shelby, right? Oh, okay. Who wants to give me a definition of an influencer? Come on, you guys. Okay, Adam.
I don't know if it's a real definition, but anyone that has other groups is somebody that I've reached out to. So when I started this group, I reached out to other meetup organizers.
Yep.
And just said, hey, come and speak here, because that helped me to get inside their network.
Absolutely. And how do you know, is Adam an influencer, do you guys think? Does he have a huge network?
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be cool to be really good friends with Adam? How do you know who the influencers are when you walk into a room? They typically have crowds around them, right? They're connecting people. They're getting things done. So it's all about finding influencers. They connect you. So when you are not sure who to talk to in a room, go find out who's getting all the attention. How many of you struggle with what to say when you walk up to someone? Let me give you it's hard. Let me give you a quick tip. Form. F-O-R-M. Ask people about their family, their occupation, what they do for fun, and what they're excited about. So if you just remember this word form, I've also heard the word Ford. I learned this at the group yesterday, or 2 days ago. D stands for, dreams. Ask anything about these 4 things, and the conversation will never die. Just keep going letter by letter. The third step is what to say. I'm going to help you guys with your elevator pitch, and I would love a volunteer who's feeling like their elevator pitch is kind of flat. If you follow this formula, I help blank, solve blank, so that blank, who do you know who is like that? So I'll give you an example for me. I help overworked and overwhelmed business owners who are feeling that they can't get on top of things, get back on top of things so they can reclaim their time and build their business, something like that. Who wants to try their elevator pitch? Who's brave and has finished their lunch?
I'll be brave. I haven't
Awesome.
finished, but
Let's hear it, and we'll help you. This is safe, right?
does it say? I didn't hear any confirmation that it was.
No, it's not. We're gonna use your elevator pitch.
Against me. No. Okay. So if we just had to summarize it up, I help individuals that are, struggling in certain situations, find a quick and effective way to get rid of their home, for whatever personal reason they may be facing, and I provide them a solution, and I'd like to see, what that solution might be.
And who do you know how do you put it into a question? Who do you know who may be struggling and needs to sell their house quickly?
Yes.
Okay.
So, anybody, a lot of the time, for instance, I seek out those kinds of people, whether they be doors that I knock on, garage sales that I walk into, different things like that. So, I would obviously take a little bit of time to get to know them, and then usually what I ask is I say, are you having a sale? Are you looking to move, or are you just having a sale?
There you go. So do you know exactly what she does? Could you refer business to her? Awesome. Who else wants to try? Thank you for going first. One more. Who wants to try something? Is this typically a quiet group?
No. I'll give it a go.
All right. Let's hear it.
So I help owners of small multifamily properties who either became owners by accident or are disillusioned with dealing with tenants and local governments, so that they can continue to earn money for a long period after selling their property to me. So do you know anyone who's fed up with being a landlord?
How about that? Was that not great? Well done. Perfect. So are they the bank then? Is that why they get the long-term return?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Well done. Let's try one more. Someone who's a little shy and not sure if it's making an impact.
Hey, I'm shy.
Nice job. That was good. How about this table over there? Anyone want to give it a shot?
If you're going to get some help,
Yeah, might as well do it here. Wouldn't you guys rather get it polished here than going out in the real world? Okay, I'm going to call on somebody. Herb. The person who just took the fight. He's got hard money and a family business, so
Okay,
let's see.
We'll say, I'm such not an elevator pitch. I should be. So we help people who need access to financing for rehab properties, find an easy path to get the financing. You learned a bad one, so there you go.
No, that's not bad. That's not bad at all. And what's a question you would say? Who do you know who needs onions? Okay, cool. Okay, we can, so I can tell you guys are a little quiet from the other group. So I will offer you, my business card is on your table. If you want to just email me something and want my opinion, I'm happy to help with that. But follow the formula. Okay, so let's get into the 8 networking tips for success. And this is what you can write on your paper. This is a new one I added, and it's just get started. My sister recently lost her job. It's been about a year now, and she's like, I have to go out and network. Stand right here. I have to go out and network. So she got all dressed up, nice dress. She got her resumes. She got some generic business cards. She drove all the way across town in Chicago, got out of the car, walked right up to the door, and chickened out. She said, I know I need to do this. I just can't do this. Has anyone ever had that feeling of walking into a networking group or like, I don't know anybody? It sucks. Totally sucks. So you have to at least get started. Show up. Have a good attitude. When you're networking, everybody knows you're there for business. So it's okay to say, I'm here for business. I'm looking for referrals. Don't be shy about that. Have you ever bought, you go to a jewelry store, all their jewelry is displayed. They're not like hiding. No, you can't see our rings. You can't see our stones. No, it's all out there. It's saying, here's what it is. Now, the prices are a little bit different. You got to flip it over. But show what you do, because people probably need it. Work the crowd and meet someone new. The biggest mistake I see is people will go and talk to their friends. You can do that anytime. You're there to meet new people and to expand your connections. It's easy to talk to your friends, but it's a little bit more challenging to meet somebody new. And then welcome somebody new if they come up. Second tip, number 7, have an intention before you go. So I know some of you came here specifically to learn about networking. That's an intention. Some of you came because you've got money to lend and you're looking for somebody you trust to lend it to. Some of you are looking to get investors, right? So have an intention, just don't wing it. Professionals don't wing it. We are very intentional in what we do. You can ask people, hey, what do you need next? My building in St. Louis, one of them is starting to settle, and I sat next to Vern, and I said, hey, you know what I need next, Vern? I need some advice on some alternatives to curing. And so we talked about some other solutions. So have an intention there, and what can you give or share? I think, Adam, you said you're all here to share something. What can you contribute to the group? I don't remember how you worded it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys all have something you can share. Knowledge, introductions. Number 6, this is gold. Come early. The magic happens really before the networking event, because as soon as the networking event's over, people they get right to their car to get on to their next appointment. Early is where all the conversations are. It's easier to find people to talk to. You're shaking your head. It's true, right? Yeah. 15, 20 minutes is perfect. Because as soon as the room gets crowded, it's really hard to break into conversations. So you maximize your time. Easier to find friendly faces. You can watch the door, and as people come in, as that influencer enters, you're like, oh, I'm going to go catch that influencer before everybody else does. And finally, and you did this, you get the best seat. I like to face the projector. I don't want to be turning my head around trying to see this. And I hate those round tables that have legs covered in the tablecloth and you're banging your knee against it. When you get there early, you get to choose your seat. So really, really good tip. Use unique openers. Tip number 5. I hate when people say, so what do you do? I feel like I'm being judged right off the bat. Like if I don't say something really cool, they're just going to move on. So I hate that question. I actually like, what brings you here? When I first moved here, we were talking about Adam and also Martin. We got here to Denver before our spouses did. I got here 3 months before my husband did. And every other week I would either go back to St. Louis or he'd fly up here. And I had this great thought. Why don't I have a happy hour at our house, even though I'm not unpacked, and bring all the neighbors on the street in, so if I ever need anything, I have a network. Not one, and I've got a judge on my street, Supreme Court judge. I've got teachers, I've got arbitrators. I've got some pretty important people on my street. I had no idea, and here's why. When they came to my party, they didn't say, hey, what do you do? They say, what do you do for fun? So I could tell you every hobby of my neighbors. And then later at the end of the night, I'm like, oh, you're a judge? Oh, really? You're an arbitrator? You're a vet? That didn't come out. But I can tell you all of their fun hobbies. So it's just a little bit different conversation. I like, what's your biggest business challenge? Because I'm a business coach. Or, hey, what have you found that's working in marketing? Something like that, so I can open up the door. And you can practice your elevator pitch over and over. So let me take a quick break because I forgot to turn on the timer. How much time do I have left?
You have plenty of time.
Okay. Let's address some of the questions, like handing off that long talker. Write this down. This is a good one. The handoff. The handoff. Someone's walking by, so you're stuck with someone that you like they're overusing your time because you're not there to talk to somebody in depth. You're there to like touch and run on, and always say I'll connect with you later. When someone comes by that I know, I'll be like, Adam, have you met Ivan? And I'll say, Adam does this, Ivan does this. Give him a little bit to, just don't like leave him hanging there. And then I'll be like, I'm going to go meet some new people, or I see somebody I know. So the handoff totally works. The second trick is, hey, why don't we both go to the food table? Let's get something to eat. So you kind of, escort them to the food table. And of course, there'll be other people at the food table. So eventually, they'll end up talking to somebody else. The bathroom works. I need to run to the restroom before the speaker starts. It's good. But it's always nice to like gently hand them off so they're not just standing there because that's awkward. Then you're like, well, now who do I talk to? So those are a few tricks. Breaking in. So can I have you two guys come up here for a second?
Yeah.
So we're going to be talking here, okay? And if you can kind of, whenever you're in a circle, just kind of tilt your body a little bit so somebody can come in. If you allow people to come in, it makes it a lot easier for people to come in versus us all like huddling here. So while it's harder to break into that, oh, thanks guys. While it's harder to break into someone who's like having a conversation, just remember when you open up, it allows people to come in. Sometimes it's just hard. Standing here trying to have a conversation, they're like looking over me because I'm so short. I'm like, okay, I got to move on. But generally it works. Yeah.
So what you talked about is us being in a conversation, allowing somebody else in.
Yeah.
What I think he was referring to is you've got three people that always talk to each other and you can't break into that.
That's hard. And I don't really have an answer for that other than kind of wedging yourself in and taking a shot. Yeah, okay. I don't have a good answer for that.
Okay.
But the more people that have an open stance like I just shared, the more it'll be better. Martin.
So I went to a Denver startup event last week. It was really interesting. I was in a circle, and this young gentleman came up, and he said, I'm looking for a conversation to join. So we opened up our circle. And then
I like that.
yeah, it's really, really nice.
I'm going to update my slide with that. I like, what are they going to say? No, you can't join this one?
Exactly.
No, this is a private conversation.
Yeah.
We're talking about
There's a better one over there.
Yeah. Upgrade over there. That's a great tip. Any other tips on what's worked for people? I think women are a little bit better about letting people in than guys. So guys, just be nicer on that. Any other questions before I move on? Okay, cool. Balance the conversation is tip number 4. You don't want to dominate the conversation talking all the time. Like, people aren't going to hear all that. They're not going to process it, and it's super boring. So give some give and take. I also like talking business and pleasure, because then when I see them next time, I'll be like, hey, how's your dog doing? And they'll be like, she remembered me. She made me feel important, remembered, valued. So mix business and pleasure. Don't be that person always like looking around for the next person to talk to. Nobody likes that. I did that the other day. I went to see Molly Bloom. Have you guys seen that movie, Molly's Game? I actually got to see her. She's based here. She was amazing. I haven't seen the movie, but I saw her in person, and she was talking about how she did all these poker games and really cool. But afterwards, we had 12 minutes to socialize, and I'm talking to somebody, and she just kept looking over my head. And I'm like, come on, seriously? This is really uncool. It's almost like, I don't know, we're adults, right? So don't do that to someone else. Not nice. And here's my trick. I always ask for someone's business card first. I don't come up and just say, here's my card. I say a couple of things. Would it be okay if I gave you my business card? And they always say yes. Or I say, may I have your business card? And they always do this. I'm going to give you guys a trick, though. How many of you have ever promised people stuff at a networking event? Like I said, right, I'm going to get you this. Oh, you want that introduction? Oh, that book title I meant to give to you. Whatever it is. I used to do this because I'm a good person. I want to help people. And I'd come home and have 2 hours worth of to-dos. At least. Multiplied by like 5 networking events. 10 hours of my week that I'm not getting paid for. So here's my trick. Whatever someone asks for, like they want a copy of my slides, I write down copy of slides. And I hand them the card. Here, Chad. Just, send me an email and I will get those to you. 9 out of 10 times, nobody follows up. I was wasting all this time thinking I was doing the right thing. And now I'm like, hey, do you want them? It's on you to do it. So I delegated. Pretty cool, huh? Write that down. That's good stuff, too.
Yes, delegate to-dos.
Delegate to-dos. We talked about this. Oh, don't spam people. Guys, it's not cool to take their business card. That's not implied permission to put them on your list. It's not cool. I think it might even border on against some of these spam rules. Ask if you can put them on their list. They'll probably say yes. And maybe unsubscribe later, but just don't blast it out to them because that's not really cool. Yeah.
So the flip of that is, you're at a networking event and you don't create enough of a depth of conversation. So I'm balancing that depth of conversation versus. So it's can we get together later? How do you know? Where's that balance there?
So that's exactly what I do too, because when you're having this great conversation, somebody's going to walk up and steal your person, right?
Right.
It's just the way it works. That's networking. I always try to say early in the conversation, wow, you are really fascinating. I would love to connect outside of this event. Would it be okay if I get your card and we set up a coffee or a virtual coffee?
So get that permission up front.
Yeah, really early because somebody's going to come, especially if you're talking to an influencer.
Yeah.
You got 30 seconds before somebody comes in and takes your person. It's kind of like dating, That's what I think. Guys, the stronger, better guy will come in and swoop up the girl you're talking to. Has that ever happened to you guys? No? It happens.
Yes, this is a room full of stronger, better guys.
You're stealing the girls.
We're the swoopers.
Givers gain. Always try to help people. They're going to remember that. Pack extra business cards in your car. This is one of my favorite tips. I can't believe how many people show up to networking cardless. Now, millennials, you guys get a little pass because you all like that digital stuff. Just give me just put it in my phone. That doesn't work for me because I use a CRM and I use a contact management system. So I like to mark where I met people. And if I see them in multiple places, they get multiple tags or filters. And one of my tricks before I actually come is I look through, Aristotle, I've gone to a couple events with him. You're actually a tag for me. I'll be like, oh, Aristotle's having a party, and I'll look at all my Aristotle tags, and I'll be like, oh, she'll be there. Then I can walk up and say, hey, so-and-so, and I'll get your name right, and then we talked about stuff. So it's really, really cool. So, and then I told you the trick about giving them the card.
I would like to give everybody a tip.
Sure.
So everybody gets, a box of business cards that you get. Well, I put my box of business cards in my glove box because they don't do me a bit of good at home. And so every time I need a card, they're always in my car. And
Totally
so
works.
That just saves me every time from running out of cards or filling out my card book or something that I do. But that's the biggest little system that I put in place for myself.
Totally works. Keep them in your cars. Because girls, what happens with us is we change our purses, and you're like, oh, that's in the other purse. Because the purse is never the same size. They never have the same pockets. Every purse is different. So the car works every time. Did you have a suggestion?
Yeah, actually, I have to tell this to my graduate students all the time, especially about visiting Asia or Latin America in the digital age. People are digitally very savvy, more than many of us are. But they think it is very rude to actually do things digitally, especially if you're younger in age or in position. So you should always offer them your card.
Oh, that's a
and
good
then
tip.
they will reciprocate. Maybe.
Yeah,
They
that's a
usually
great
do.
tip.
Yeah.
And
You have to
guys,
show some respect. In other words.
same with Jeff in Japan, right?
Yeah, Japan especially, but China, if you go to any Asian country, that is kind of the rule. There are exceptions, but
Good
younger
rule.
people who have been here for a longer time, they may be like us, but even they actually in their own countries want to be like others. Yeah.
That's a good tip. And guys, pay to put your picture on the card. Business cards are like $10, so like 2 cents each. If your picture is not on your card, throw those away and go invest in some new cards. Because when you come home and you've got 20 cards and you're like, I don't know who this is, it goes right in the garbage. Versus having your picture like, oh yeah, I talked to that Nancy girl. Right? And realtors are the ones that do this all the time. Good for you guys. But the rest of us should also, it doesn't take up a lot of real estate on your card. Oh, funny. That was unintentional.
Yeah, some corporate won't go for that. It's not in the policy.
So here's what I tell people that have a corporate. Make a separate set of business cards. You just have your name, your email, and a phone number. And then you choose which one you're going to give. Who wants to know the ultimate question to be remembered? Only some of you? Okay, you'll take it? Ask the other person, how can I know if somebody would be a good referral for you? How would I know if somebody would be a good referral for you? It's not on the paper. This is bonus stuff. When somebody asks you that, aren't you like, wow, they actually want to help me? This question will change your business because people will automatically turn around and say, well, how will I know if someone's a good referral for you? And then you've got a chance to share what you do. So I would think ahead of time on how to really clearly articulate who would be a good referral for you because it's going to come back. So it might be somebody who had distressed houses over here. Was it you? Someone said distressed. Anyway, so just have those words ready to go. Like, accidental landlords. Someone who's an accidental landlord. But this question has really made a huge difference in my business. How do I know if someone's a good referral for you? I would encourage all of you who's networking after this today. Yeah, use that question and see. People are like, wow. It's a huge thing. Yeah.
So sometimes it's a related question. I say, what is your target market? How do you usually try to reach them? Is that really a different question, or is that close?
I think this is better because you're actually implying that you're going to look to find them a referral.
Direct, okay.
Yeah. It's saying, hey, I'd like to refer business to you. What should I look for? So 2, advance the relationship. When I first started my business, I would come home in tears after networking and be like, my husband's like, did you sell anything? No, nobody bought anything. And it was rough. It was a rough transitioning from being a really good corporate employee to being an entrepreneur. Has anyone else made that change? Guys, I thought it would be a slam dunk. Big 5 consultant, MBA, consulted to all these major companies. I'm like, how hard can it be to run a business of one? This should be easy. And I had like 60 days of savings thinking I'd be profitable in 60 days. Yeah, right. So I was wrong about a lot of stuff, especially networking. So the goal is really to set up the next touch point. And like you were saying, I was telling you, get the card early and plant the seed. I'm going to be following up with you. Is that okay? Set up the next appointment and follow up immediately. And I'm going to share some follow-up tips. And number 1, be willing to break up. You're hanging out at groups that aren't getting you referrals, friends, clients. Probably not the group for you anymore, and you need to up-level where you're hanging out. I spent so much time in the wrong groups. So I have a rule of 4. I will visit a group 4 times consistently. Because the first time people are thinking you're just kind of like swooping in to check things out. Second time they're like, oh, she might be serious. Third time they'll come up and have a conversation with you. And 4th time they may even give you a referral. 4 times. And if it's not working after 4, I'm probably like, probably need to move on. People, like, as you see more and more people here, aren't you only doing business with people you've seen a few times? It takes a little bit of time. And stop when things don't work. A couple bonus tips. Consolidate your time. This is my networking day because I got up here, I took a shower, I put on some makeup for you guys, so I've got appointments all day since I'm already on this side of town. I live in Morrison. I encourage you to do the same thing. Pick a day or two of the week where you do all of your face-to-face, and then the other days work on paperwork or whatever, phone calls, something different. Realtors, sometimes it's hard because people tell you when they want to see it, but in general, that saved me tons of time. Quality over quantity. I only pick a few groups to network at. I used to go really, really wide, like I just need to be everywhere. That wasn't working. So pick where you want to go. Manage your contacts and even be a volunteer because you get a lot more exposure. Oh, so I'm a speaker. I'm also a business coach, but if you guys know of anybody who needs a speaker, I speak on networking, systems, how to get free publicity, and what am I missing? Automation. I'd love to have a conversation. Final step, how to follow up. This one is really good. You guys ready for this? I always send a handwritten note if I have an address on a business card after I've met with somebody in person. Use blue ink. I don't know why, but blue ink's supposed to be really good. If I can't find their address, I just skip it. It's not worth my time to look for it. But if I have a really good meeting with somebody face-to-face, I love sending thank you notes. It'll make you stand out. And I like to always say, it was a pleasure meeting you. If I can ever refer business your way, I will. So whether you're following up with an email or a card, don't say, here's what I do and here's how I, blah, blah, blah. It's all about me. Make it about them. If I can ever send business your way, I will. Really simple. And then 24/7/30 is my magic formula for follow-up. Within 24 hours of getting a business card, I connect on social media. Mine is LinkedIn. Some of you are probably better on Facebook because that's what real estate is about. Within 7 days, for people that I really, really find are going to be great power partners or clients or friends, I schedule a coffee. Some of it is in person, some of it's by phone, depending on what I can fit in. And then for the really, really, really important people I want to stay in front of, who may not be ready to work with me, every 30 days I find a touch point. Maybe I run into them at an event, maybe it's a newsletter, maybe it's I found something cool, maybe I like their post on social media and comment. Those are the people I want always to be in front of. Does that make sense? People love that 24/7/30. I love that. Huge system. So we've got about a few minutes left. Was this helpful?
Yes.
I tend to go fast.
Yes.
What kind of questions? Yeah, Adam.
Well, on the 24, 7, and 30,
Uh-huh.
do you have some type of CRM so that you're making sure that you're doing it every 30 days, or how do you do that?
I do have a CRM. I use Infusionsoft. But what I found is I used to try to do this with everybody I meet, and it was impossible. So I've got a list of like 10 targets. So 10 clients, 10 partners, and then just 10 friends. So I only have 30 people I'm trying to deal with at a time. Otherwise, it was overwhelming. And these are people that have said, hey, I want to work with you, but I can't work with you for a few months. I don't want to lose that momentum. What other questions are kind of cool? Do you guys feel like you can network more effectively now?
Yes.
Yeah?
Do you filter the business cards that you take, or just the ones that you don't throw away?
Do I filter them?
Yes. If I am going to be absolutely no use to you in your business, you've already decided that, and I say, can I give you my business card?
Yep, absolutely. Because I take a picture. I love this app called Full Contact. It's based here in Denver. Full Contact. It looks like a Rolodex for those that are young. A Rolodex. Do you guys all know what that is? Okay, it's like an electronic Rolodex. So, Vern just gave me his card. When I get home, I'm going to turn on my app. I'm going to take a picture of his card. The card gets sent to a real person somewhere in the world who types all the information into my contact system. So not just scanning. Then it goes out to the internet and it finds his website, his picture, if it's not in his card, his LinkedIn, compiles it all together. So everybody goes into my full contact. I could do 1,000 cards a year for $100. Killer deal. And then, because I may see you down the road and we may have referrals for each other. So everybody gets in there. And you'll get tagged Adam's group. Adam's meetup, I think that's what I'll call it. Other people I actually have in a CRM, and I only put them in if they opt in for something off my website. Like I've got a free report, 100 systems to systemize your business. It's only 2 pages. If you guys want it, then you're on my email list. But yeah, I don't put them on. Is that helpful? Because you never know, right? You could be in my 98%. Who else has got a question, like how to keep track of everything? Michelle, we met a while ago.
Did we?
Yeah, I don't remember where, but I recognize your name. Probably. Yeah, so you're somewhere in my system.
Okay.
It was a different company.
Okay.
So who else has got questions? Like, where are you really stuck? Is it what groups? Yeah, go ahead.
I just neglected to share something earlier when you were talking about how to get in to kind of infiltrate, like break into two people talking to each other. And so when I was in Boston recently, I planned to buy, well, you don't have to be the one to buy it, but I just planned to go to a bar after. And it was Cheers. Cheers is in Boston. So all I would do is, well, these guys are, you can tell by how people posture if they want to talk or not. So if they're closing off, you know they don't want to talk. If they're open, that means someone else join us. And so those are the easy ones, but when you can't and you want to talk to them, I always just try to plan something that I can say, hey, I'm really sorry to interrupt. Do you know if you guys are going to Cheers tonight with everybody? And so it's just really easy to just break in with just, hey, just one quick question, are you guys going to do this? And that's, or yeah, just whatever it is. Hey, I'm sorry to interrupt. Can I buy you guys a drink? I wanted to chat with you for a minute. Or hey, sorry to interrupt. Just wanted to find out this one thing. And that's a way, if they're closed off, to not be invasive, to be polite and respectful of what they're doing, but still they're going to remember who you are. Wait, why is he asking us if we want to go to Cheers? And then they're like, well, what's going on at Cheers? Oh, I'm just buying everybody drinks. It's a bunch of people just hanging out. Great networking. I just wanted to find out if you guys are planning on going. It's 7 to 9. Oh, I didn't know about it. We're not planning on going. And then so the next thing that I say is, all right, well, I would like to connect with you, and I can tell you guys are already talking. Do you think we should talk tomorrow? Or if they say no, because of this, you say, all right, well, if it'd be all right, I've been wanting to talk to you guys all day, and you guys are obviously very well respected. You're influencers. People are following you around, and I just wanted a chance for it. Just, is there a time this weekend that we can get together? And then the only other thing that I was going to share is that sometimes a really cool person, a really great person, a really high up person is somebody that you want to connect with and stay together. So what you can do is to get away from them because you know you're going to talk to them. Is you just honestly, politely say, you are one of the most, whatever people in this room. I'm really glad we connected. I want to meet some other people, but I'm going to have you on my podcast. Or I want to meet some other people, but I definitely would like to schedule a lunch with you so that you can break away from somebody and then you're already going to connect with them.
Those are great tips. One thing that I would add to that, this girl came up to me one time and she said, you look like somebody I should know. I was like, I'm going to talk to this girl. She's already just given me a compliment. You look like somebody really important that I should know. Something like that. So you can break in with that too. She's going to say, no, we all suck. Don't talk to us. The other trick too is find the lone person who's not talking to anybody. If you feel like you need somebody to latch onto, because that person's not going to say, no, I prefer to stand by myself at this networking event. Don't talk to me. Low-hanging fruit. Really easy. Did you have a question?
I do. So the issue of which groups versus persistence. Because it seems like it's going to work, but I don't have any referrals out of this. You get to 6. How about if you're at 10 and you're saying, well, there's nothing going to come out of this? Maybe there is because you haven't developed enough. My pitch is wrong. I've changed my pitch 5 times because I don't think any of them are right. Where's the persistence piece of this? I mean, at some point you give up, or do you just say, well, it really seems like the right group, it's the right demographics, it's the right.
So what I would do is meet with people outside of that group and kind of get to know them one-on-one. I was part of BNI. BNI is amazing, but it just wasn't amazing for me.
Right.
And I spent, $500-600, which didn't really bother me as much as I was driving and spending probably 12 hours a month at this group. And finally, I'm like, I need to even break up before my membership's open.
Okay.
Coming up, and it was a tough call. But Yeah,
I
meet with
looked at
people
that one
outside.
also, and different ones are different. Different
Yeah.
organized are different.
Meet with people outside. If they're still not your people, then move on. So, a couple things. What's the one thing you're going to do? Typically, I go around the whole room, but I don't think I have enough time. So, by show of hands, how many of you are going to be using the 24/7/30 follow-up system? Pretty easy, right? How many of you are going to use the magic question, which is, what's a good referral for you? Okay. How many of you are going to have an intention before? Did anyone really resonate with that one? You're just winging it? Yeah? Okay. Any ones I left off that someone's like, this is exactly what I'm going to do?
Yeah.
The app? The app's amazing. Yeah, the app's really cool. Totally worth $100.
I'm going to write my elevator speech using your structure.
Yes.
Perfect.
And then I'm going to write a couple of other things like the magic question. And then I'm going to put that in my car. And I'm going to look at that before I walk into my next.
That's awesome.
That's great.
An elevator pitch is really a system. When you say the right words all over and over, it's not going to come out sloppy. And when you've got that 30-second timer in networking events where you're like, it'll be so natural. So, perfect. Anything else someone picked up that we didn't mention? What you're going to do? Yeah.
Arriving early and getting the best seat. That's something I haven't done. I'm going to do that.
You're going to love that. You're not going to feel frazzled. You'll get to meet the right people. Because people that are really together show up early, too.
I think I was the first one here today, and I was like 5 minutes early, and I'm like, I was like shocked.
Adam, what are you going to do?
Well, I believe that there's a lot of groups out there, and every group has like the person that goes there. And typically, you can almost build yourself an avatar at certain groups. So if you're going to 5 different groups, you may have 5 different elevator pitches. It's like if you're Herb and you're lending hard money, and you know that there's a lot of fix and flippers, then you want to come in and you want to say something to the effect of, hey, there's a lot of hard money lenders out there charging 15 and 4. I just want to help you to be able to break into the business, or if you're already in the business, I want to save you a few $1,000s. How can I do that? How can I show you? How can we get together so that you can look at this, what I'm doing, so that I can save you several $1,000s. It's for them. And then a different one might be you're going to wholesalers. So Herb might have a different way of looking at the wholesalers, or you go here, like I have 3 companies, but I don't tell everybody all of my companies because that would just be like way too long. So like one day I'll just say, you know what, we haven't done very much at my real estate agent, so I'll build my pitch that day, and I'll just maybe come to you and say, hey, if you're a licensed agent and you're wanting to get into a group that actually helps investors, because that would probably resonate with a lot of agents here. You know, we have 14 agents right now. We want to be at least at 20. And I'd love to talk to you about that. Something like specific where that's your elevator pitch you say to every single agent at that one place, because you're kind of playing to the player. So have your avatar kind of built out to know how am I going to talk to that person at that event.
Because I have different pitches depending on if somebody's in year 3 to 4 of their business or 6 to 8, because they have different problems. Yes?
That was a great point, because I have 3 different businesses that I run, and so if I'm not mistaken, it sounds like you are a bit of jack of all trades as well. How do you work in, obviously half of it's probably feeling out the conversation, but do you attend different kinds of networking events, or if it all encompasses one, do you have a way that you work that?
So most of my networking events are business owners, but I always make them talk first. So I'll be like, oh, are you a business owner? Because some people are employees when they show up. Are you a business owner? How long have you been in business? And if they tell me it's 3 to 4 years, I know they probably need more consistency in their sales. They're like, where are my clients? I need money. If they say 6, 7, 8 years, I'm like, oh, how are things? Is everything systemized in your business so you can set it and forget it? Is it all automated? They're like, no, my hair's on fire. So I have them talk first, and then I know what to say back. Sometimes you get stuck, but maybe you can be short and say, oh, I want to hear about you first.
Yeah.
Hot potato. Great question, though. Thank you. Did someone else have a hand up? Cool. So a little bit of closing inspiration. you guys took time to drive here, listen to me. If you don't do any of this, it was really kind of a waste of your time. So if you really want to get stuff done, pick at least one thing, make a change. You can add something else on, just keep layering it. But just don't sit there and say, yeah, I feel really motivated, and go back to the old way, because it's not going to work. And here's how you can connect with me. I do have a podcast. Always looking for amazing guests. It's in over 83 countries right now. So I'm almost on episode 200. So trying to find out who would be the best guest for number 200. So it's on Nancy Gaines' show, because I couldn't think of another name at the time. I'm a big fan of done is better than none, so just get it done and fix it later. What kind of questions do you have about managing property remotely? Anything?
How do you make that work?
So part of it's relationship. So all the properties are in St. Louis, where I got my MBA, and everything's systemized. So it's all the same color. I visited probably quarterly, and so I check on things. But the hardest thing I couldn't figure out to do is, how do I rent these? So a couple things. Has anyone ever made an appointment to show a property and they don't show up?
Yeah.
I can't believe I didn't think of this myself. It's a little embarrassing, because I'm all about productivity. I learned this from somebody. She makes the person call you 30 minutes before the appointment to say, I'm coming. And if she doesn't get a call, she didn't do that. So now that's what I do. But that's what I did when I was in St. Louis. So great tip for all of you if you've got rental property and it don't show up. The average length of my residency is 4 years. My people stick around, which is great, because that eliminates a lot of headaches. But what I do is I find somebody in that building who wants to make a little extra money, and I pre-screen them. So I take all the phone calls, I make sure they've got a job. I can do a quick background check for free. I do all that stuff. And then I make an email list and send it to this person and say, hey, would you like to show this apartment? I'm going to give you half off your rent or something. Whatever, I know they're like, yeah, I'll take that. Because they can set up the appointments on their time. And it's been wonderful. And it saved me a lot of commissions. Yeah.
It's part of my tenancy agreement that once you give me notice, you will make yourself available to show the
Oh, that's awesome.
apartment.
Yeah, do you
While
pay?
you're still living.
Do you compensate them or no? I like to compensate them.
If it was somebody else in the building who was going to show that, then yes, sure. But in order to help me do the turnover and
That's a
get
good
your
thing.
deposit back for you, then you need to help me a little bit and show me.
That's awesome. So I do that, but I do compensate them, because then I feel they're a little bit more engaged in it. And the quicker you sell someone, the quicker people aren't coming through your house all the time. So, what other questions? I'm glad to see you do that too. How are we doing on time? We have lots of time, huh?
Yeah, we can wrap it up. We're good. Really appreciate your time.